This episode of Our Undoing Radio is brought to you by like, subscribe, ring a bell, and go to ko-fi.com/jvay to donate right now. That's ko-fi.com/JAYVAY to donate. Link is in the description. Actually, this episode is brought to you by you, or people like you, people who are better than you, if you're not donating, or liking, or subscribing, or doing anything but listening. I mean, you can listen, but you're not going to get much out of it. I mean, sure, other episodes you will, just not this one. You'll find out why soon. Here comes the music. Aloha, ladies and gentlemen. Jeremy Vaeni here. You are listening to Our Undoing Radio, and you may at times be listening to a greater or lesser version of rain spattering upon the rooftop. That's right. Nature's special effects here. This week, we're going to be talking about our cats. That's right, Carol's and my cats. Because in my new book, plug alert here, cheap plug, Kundalini and the Secrets of Silence, I talk about all kinds of animals on and around this island, on and around our home. And the cats get a little bit of attention there, but not much. And boy, have I got a fun cat story for you. I don't know that it will have a moral to the story, but I guess we'll find out in the end, right? So let's take this winding kitty cat journey together. Prepare for hilarity. Also prepare for cuss word. Just one. You know I don't like to swear on this show. I like to swear on Paratopia. Oh man, I love swearing on Paratopia. I used to love that. But here, it's a safe space. Unless I have guests who swear, and then not so safe. But I have to use a swear word. It's built into the show. Well, you'll see. Anyway, let us begin with our cats, Alfie and Sir Palm Trees. We adopted them because we had 3 cats, Oscar, Elvis, and Gracie. Elvis and Oscar passed away. Gracie was left alone. True to the human stereotypes, the 2 boys loved to roughhouse, and the girl, actually an old woman at this point, didn't. So she didn't really get along with them in that sort of way, like playful. She just kind of hissed at them and, punched them in the face if they got out of line with her. And she was the runt of her litter, and they were 2 giant cats, and so she had the confidence of being raised by Carol all of her life as an alpha to make up for the fact that she was a runt. But then a weird thing happened. We moved here to Hawaii together, I was living here, but we moved to this house together in Hawaii. And Hawaii not only fattened Gracie up, but grew her up. She elongated. She became like a normal looking cat moving here from New York. So that's kind of magical, right? Nevertheless, she still doesn't like to roughhouse and all that and is the alpha. But it's just funny because you would not know that she loved those 2, except that when they were gone, she got really lonely. You could tell she was sort of every now and then looking at the garage door, perhaps wondering when they were coming back. So we decided, okay, she's getting lonely. She didn't seem to be doing well at the time physically. And so we adopted 2 cats. One's name was Alfie already, and he is an Alfie, so he stayed Alfie. The other one's name was Julian, and he was not a Julian. He was definitely a Sir Palm Trees. So we renamed him. But we got them because I think they had been there at the shelter. We always go to the Humane Society shelter. We would never buy a cat at a pet store. So there's your PSA. Don't buy pets at a pet store. Go to the shelter. But they had been there the longest, I think, at least Sir Palm Trees had. Alfie was a kitten. Sir Palm Trees was, I don't know, a year old, 2 years old, something. But they sort of knew each other and got along. Sir Palm Trees had allegedly been a colony cat outside, so a stray in a colony, but when we took him in, it was really clear that he had to have had a home before then, because he's definitely a lap cat and loves, people. And Alfie was found in a laundry basket in someone's home or in a apartment complex or something. So mom must have dropped him off as a real young baby in a laundry basket. So he had never really known much else other than this humane society, other than a laundry basket. So he was a people person because, people are coming in and out of there all the time to check out all the other cute cats that they want to adopt. Now, when I say that, we got kind of bamboozled. I guess this is the bad part of the Humane Society, is they take the best pictures they possibly can of a cat to make it all cute and adorable. Then you're like, oh, we gotta. So they looked cute and adorable in the picture, and then when we saw them in person, like Alfie was like this roly-poly kind of. He looked like a lazy fatty. He looked like me as a cat, basically. And nobody wants that. And Sir Palm Trees looked like kind of an emaciated, long-nosed, depressed, maybe inbred, kind of overly inbred kind of cat. I mean, I'm sure they're all inbred, but he looked the part. And so we both did the cartoon side eye to each other, kind of thing. And it was at that point where, like, our own vanity, we were confronted by our own vanity of like, these cats are ugly and they're not what we were advertised, but we came here to rescue them because they've been here the longest and they need a home, and we can't say no or we look like a-holes. That's not the swear word I'm using, so I'm saying a-holes. So not wanting to look like a-holes, we brought these cats home. And we slowly introduced them to Gracie through, we kept them in a second bedroom and had like a child's gate with a sheet across it. So at first it was like the closed door, introduction, sniff, sniff, sniff. They can kind of sniff each other. And then we put the gate up with the sheet for a little bit, however many days that was. So they couldn't see each other, but they could hear each other and they could smell each other more. And then we tried lifting the sheet, and then that didn't go well. Gracie hissed at them and was like, "Get out of here." Then you have to restart the process all over again. You're like, "Okay, I did that too early. Let's restart this." So we did it till we got it right, and we introduced them, and they, for the most part, got along. Now they get along famously. And that's it. We became one big happy family. But Alfie was slightly younger than Sir Palm Trees. I should say, they grew into amazing cats. So Alfie looked like a little roly-poly. He really looked like a mouse because he's got like a mouse's head, but a cat body and a short, stubby, bulbous tail. And Sir Palm Trees is so named. And Alfie is I should say also, just so you can get a picture of him. What do you call those cats? The black cats with the white bellies? I want to say top cat, but but I know that that's wrong. Well, anyway, at this point in the recording, as my honey bunny Carol is listening, she's yelling into my ear what kind of cat that is.
Tuxedo cat.
Black cat, white belly. Sir Palm Trees is a tabby cat, so he's kind of that bunch of olive brown colors, that. And it turned out he had a mouth issue that we were able to get fixed, and that answered why he was so emaciated and depressed. He was actually in a lot of pain, and now he's not in any pain, and so he fattened right up. His face filled out. He looks like a normal tabby cat. He became a great lap cat. You can just see it in his face that every day of his life he is glad to be here. And Alfie so he's a perfect cat's cat. He is a cat. And Alfie, it turns out, is more of a human. Alfie is amazing. Alfie knows all these tricks. He keeps teaching himself more tricks. He is empathetic. He has real emotional content to his being, not just feed me, pet me, let's go to sleep. So yeah, he loves to play. He doesn't like to be in a lap. He loves to be petted, but he didn't have a mom raising him, so he had to learn certain things, like how to drink water without using his paw to, feel where the water is or scoop it into his mouth. Things like that are like, oh, that's so cute. No, it's so sad he has to learn that. But anyway, so one big happy cat family, except that Alfie is younger than Sir Palm Trees, and I think Sir Palm Trees actually wants to sleep more than Alfie does. Alfie, I think, gets bored sometimes, and we can't always play with him. He always seems to want to play when we don't, like when we just got in from doing something, and we're like, I'm exhausted. So we thought, okay, let's get Alfie another cat, because Gracie's 8 million years old. She's not going to be here forever, so yeah, it's a pain in the ass, and we cannot afford 4 cats, but are we going to have to afford them for long? So Carol, we had toyed with that idea, but Carol found a cat on the website, the Humane Society, named Finn. And Finn had been there for about 2 years. And so Carol was like, wow, Finn must have known these guys, because he was there when we got them. We didn't see Finn. But Finn's been there forever. Finn needs a home. And then, so it became this sort of like, oh, we've got to do it. We've got to rescue Finn. He's been there for way too long. And she showed me the picture, and Finn, well, remember what I said about them making the pictures look the best they could? Well, they did the best they could with Finn, I guess, but he kind of looked like shitty Hitler. Oh yeah, that's the swear word I'm using, because Finn has a long snout. He's a white cat with a long snout and a bunch of misplaced sort of, spots all over, black fur spots. And one is right underneath his nose. It looks like a Hitler stash. And he's got like a bowl cut, like one part of his head, and it goes around his ear is like a black circle. So it looks like Hitler's hair with Hitler's mustache. Hitler's in the long snout, and he's got crazy eyes. So he looks like freaking Hitler, except his mustache is a little bit off center. So I call him Shitty Hitler, because not only was Hitler shitty, but for those of you who are not indoctrinated into 12-year-old sexual stupid humor, a shitty Hitler is something that one does to another person when you stick your finger up your own bum and sneak up behind someone and swipe it across their upper lip. That is called a shitty Hitler. So, I know. I'm in my 50s, and I'm laughing at this. Nevertheless, he looked like a shitty Hitler. I mean, come on. But he's been there for 2 years. We got to rescue him. So, it said that he got along with other cats. It said that he likes a lap. It said that he shows affection by giving headbutts, which I'm already thinking is going to be problematic. But okay, let's overlook that. Hitler going to do Hitler, right? He's going to be a little bit aggressive. So we went and by the way, she would not let me call him Shitty Hitler. Just for the record, that was not going to be the cat's name. It's just what I thought of. But Carol would have killed me, because she believes that animals become their names. You don't. That's not the name you want your animal to become. So we went to the shelter. We looked at the cat. Oh, I should add that, like, I think the day that we went there, maybe it was the day before, and I don't remember, but for dramatic effect, let's say it's the day we went there, because I'm not really lying. I don't really remember. It was probably the day before. But the day we went there, right before we went, somehow Carol found out that she was mistaken. He hadn't been there for 2 years. He'd been there since January, I think. January or February. So a number of months. Like 7 or 8 months, somewhere in there. So he wouldn't have known them. That's good, because maybe you don't want to know shitty Hitler. But we went there. We were like, okay, once again, now we feel roped in. It's our own fault this time. It wasn't the pretty pictures. It was our own sense of wanting to rescue a cat who's been in an institution for too long. But now that it wasn't too long, it was just kind of long. It was kind of like, well, do we really need this shitty Hitler-looking cat? But we'd committed to it. So again, the vanity kicks in, and you're like, all right, we'll do it. Let's go. Let's just look. Plus, let's face it, Alfie needs a companion. So we go, we look at him. He is not with other cats. He is alone they have 2 cages with like sort of an open archway between them, and he's got those 2 cages. And he's not like in the catio or anything, so we don't see him with other cats. But they let him out in this room, which is basically a circular enclosure of these cages. Like the walls are these cages filled with other cats. And so he walks around and he tries to play with one of the cats through the cage, and one of the other cats who's trying to play with him, he's avoiding, and, seems normal, but he seems really disinterested. He doesn't care one way or the other about us. He's not real excitable. There's no real connection there. But, we understand that from Sir Palm Trees and from any depressed cat who's like stuck in a cage, listening to dogs bark in another facility all day long. I mean, this has got to be torture. They do their best with what they've got at the Humane Society, but, animals want to run free. Unfortunately, you can't have cats running free on this island, or every other bird will go extinct. So we took him home. We set up the slow introduction. At first, he was really scared. We had him in the bathroom in the second bedroom, because now we've got these other 2 cats and they want to roam around. We can't just keep them cooped up. Gracie's fine just going to sleep, getting up, eating, and going back to sleep. That's her life. But these other cats want to run around, so we can't just close them off. Plus, that's Carol's office. So if she's in there with the door closed to keep this cat company, Alfie and Palm Trees are going to go nuts. Okay, he's in the bathroom. He stays in the bathtub for a few days because he's too scared to move. Eventually, we do shut the door to the bedroom because we realize, okay, he needs to get out of that room. So we let him roam around the room and get sort of comfortable there. And eventually, he warms up to us enough to come around to give us the little headbutts. That's cute. Sometimes his eyes aren't as crazy looking, He's got a little pink on his ear. That's adorable. Still looks like Hitler full on, but from the side, he kind of looks different. So we had to name him something else, so we named him Cosmo. That seemed like a good fit for him, Cosmo. We're like, this is gonna really work well, I think. So finally we get to the stage where we can do the gate with the sheet. And we lift the sheet a little bit, after a day or so they can sniff each other but not see each other still, but they know they're there. We're doing this sort of thing. And eventually we get to the stage where, okay, we'll pull the sheet up and they can look at each other. And Cosmo starts making a weird sound. Cosmo's an otherwise fairly silent cat so far. But he makes a sound that is a growl. Carol knew it to be a growl. To me, it just seemed like a high-pitched, weird sound, but to him, it probably sounded like a lion growling. And so we put the thing back down. Alfie never warmed up to Cosmo. To Alfie, this would forever be Shitty Hitler. So he stayed away, but Sir Palm Trees seemed to want to play with Cosmo and welcome him to the family. And Gracie, who was the one we were really afraid of, not getting along, couldn't care less. She couldn't be bothered. Oh, she knew he was there all right. She looked at him once, and then she just kind of walked away, which is exactly what you want from your cat situation. Cosmo, on the other hand, kind of growled at her. So he's doing his growling. He's standing his ground, this brand new cat in a new place. And the cats that live there, at least 2 of them, are willing to welcome him into the fold, or at the best and at worst, not care that he exists. So eventually it gets to be where Alfie's starting to warm up to the idea because Sir Palm Trees is okay with him, and Sir Palm Trees and Cosmo seem to be getting along famously through this cage door. It seems like they want to play. He makes it clear, Sir Palm Trees does, that he wants Cosmo to chase him, And Cosmo now starts whining because he wants to get out. So he starts whimpering. He wants to be let out. We're like, oh, maybe should we do this? So one fine day when we feel like, okay, everyone's ready for this, we let him out. And this is after I don't know how much detail I need to put in here, but I'm just saying we did the paces, right? Like we hid the cats away in our bedroom and let Cosmo roam around so he can sniff out the living room, sniff all their smells, and then locked him away in the bathroom while we let them into the second bedroom to sniff around the second bedroom to know that he was there and smell his smells. Like, we did all that stuff. We did everything the Jackson Galaxy way. We did everything right. And so now when it was finally time, we thought, to let him out, he immediately tears after Alfie. And this, by the way, I guess I should add, since I'm claiming to have done it right, they played with each other with the gate, like through the gate, like we have, toys on a string. And so they would bat it around and we'd flip it to one side of the gate, and the boys and Gracie would play with it, and then to the other side, and Cosmo would play with it. So they got used to playing together. But when we lifted the gate finally, he tore after Alfie, and I had to sort of get in between them. First I tried to use, before he tore after Alfie, I had like a cardboard thing. Just a piece of cardboard that you put down in front of their eyes to break eye contact so that they get out of that psycho predator-prey mode. And so we would do that with him when he would growl behind the cage door there, and it worked. But now that he was out, he was like, nope, I'm looking around this thing. I'm going after this cat. So you get out of my face with that shit. So Shitty Hitler tore after Alfie, and I had to break that up. I got in front of him, but it didn't take me much to break them up because Sir Palm Trees decided to go exploring that second bedroom. And the second he did that, Shitty Hitler whips around and goes tearing in after him and starts attacking him. And so Carol actually had to break that up because she was in there with him, and she got scratched or bitten, something. And, Sir Palm Trees tore out of there. He got away, and then I was able to put the gate up and trap her in there with the Tasmanian Devil, and Carol has now passed away. Good night, everybody. No, that's not how this ends. Carol's fine. But anyway, so we were able to stop that, but now the boys are like, nope, deathly afraid, and we're like, okay, this isn't going to work. This is really unfortunate, but I don't think this is going to work. We got to bring him back. This is really defeating for Carol because she's had cats since forever and she's never had it go this poorly and never had to bring a cat back. At this point, we were fostering him because they had recommended you foster him before you adopt. They didn't do that with the other two boys, funny enough, but with this cat, they recommended you foster him first. So we were okay to bring him back in that sense, but it just felt so defeating, and like, no, we really liked Cosmo when he wasn't being Shitty Hitler. So we thought we would give it one more try. We would start over from the beginning, but even as we were doing it, we were just sort of dragging our feet like, okay, we know that this could take months. This is the problem. Like, Jackson Galaxy, for those of you who aren't familiar, is a sort of, I don't know, self-professed ? Cat expert, but he seems to know his stuff. He's on the YouTubes knowing his stuff, and even he says, this is a foolproof way of introducing your cats. Unfortunately, if you introduce them too quickly and things go awry like they did this, it's not a completely lost cause, but it may take months. And not only do we not want to take months with this, but the problem is Gracie. Gracie has to be the alpha. We can't have another cat who's going to challenge... Like, we don't play the alpha game in this household, right? Everyone just kumbaya and gets along. But this guy clearly comes from another headspace of like, I've got to be the alpha, I've got to show them. And we should have known this because one of the things it said in his description, or maybe, did it say anything? No, the woman told us when we were there, is that he had started eating other cats' food, and that's why he was in the cage alone. So, because he's eating too much food. So they had him on a special diet. And I think the problem isn't the diet. I think the problem is that he's an alpha, and when you humans are away, these other cats know not to mess with him. Let's put it that way. So he's taking their food, and they ain't saying a word about it. I think we figured that much out. He's not a cat. He's a people cat. He'd make a great cat for someone, who doesn't have other cats. So anyway, we did try to slow it down, rewind, reintroduce, and surprisingly, both Alfie and Palm Trees, maybe because they survived him, were not as standoffish as we thought they would be. Like, Sir Palm Trees was sort of back up to the gate, and Alfie kind of, sort of shyly was, but not really. His same old, same old. But again, they showed proper disinterest until, like, then we took, okay, let's try taking the sheet up again all the way. And Carol was in there playing with him, with the toy. And then he saw Alfie, and he started, like, growling and making his way psychotically toward the gate, like he was going to lunge after Alfie, with the toy in his mouth. So normally if you distract him with a toy, like, that's the point of the toy, is to distract from the psychotic stuff. But he was like, nah, I can do both. I'll take this toy, thanks, and now I will go kill Alfie, and I will take him too. And we were like, no, Shitty Hitler, no, because again, Gracie, the problem is, hypothetically, Alfie and Palm Trees could handle themselves if they had to, like, sort it out, an alpha sort of thing. But Gracie just sleeps on the bed. She's got a bad back. She has one eye. She's not doing that well, and she's not out there enough for him to even be with her to know anything about her. I think he was scared the first day he saw her because she had the one eye, and he was probably like, oh, that's going to be my ultimate foe. That one has seen some shit. But no, she hasn't seen some shit. She just had she lost her eye, and it's unfortunate. But not through scrapping with cats or anything. She didn't climb her way to the alpha spot. Carol coddled her to the alpha spot. She's queen bee, and that's where she has to stay. So we know that as soon as he's out, even if he handled the boys okay, it ain't going to go well with Gracie, so we got to give him back. And it's unfortunate, but that's just what happened. We had to give him back. So the moral to the story is, don't judge a book by its cover, right? That's what we learned with Alfie and Palm Trees. But then also definitely judge a book by its cover. That's what we learned with Cosmo. And so I guess really the moral then has to be something like, don't read books. Although if you're going to read a book, go read Kundalini and the Secrets of Silence, because you're going to actually learn more about life, the universe, and all else from animals, including our cats a little bit, in that book. Oh yes, I've spoiled nothing by telling this story. You're welcome. 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 Oh, but also, I think there's another lesson. And it's not non-judgmentalism, trust me on that one. It's realize that sometimes your instincts are going to be wrong. And so sometimes you just got to dive into things and let life play out to figure out if indeed your instincts were wrong. If you don't put them to the test, how are you going to know? But also, do you know what your instincts are? Because our instincts were like, oh, Alfie and Palm Trees, adorable. We must have them. We must raise them as our own. And then when we saw them, we were like, oh, we were wrong about that. But it's too late now. Vanity and all. And then when we raised them, we were like, oh, we were right after all. These are amazing cats. We love them. It's only with Cosmo that we were like, okay, he needs rescuing, and we need a cat. And it worked out the last time with ugly cats, so maybe this ugly cat will be fine. And then it turned out, well, no. But, to his credit, not because he's an ugly cat, and not because he's a bad cat. He's a really good cat, just not the right cat, not the right fit for this family, unfortunately. So sometimes your instincts are right, sometimes they're wrong, sometimes things just aren't cut and dry. There's a moral here about the gray area. Oh, yes. I just can't seem to find it to make sense of it, so I hope instead you found this funny. Found this funny. Hey, maybe next week we'll talk about humor in spirituality, and we'll learn something about that for reals. Until then, ciao. And Thanks for listening to my cat story. Bye-bye. No bye. No bye now. This is Jeremy. It's a completely other day. It's a completely other microphone. It's pouring rain out. I'm freezing. It's got to be at least 75. It's Hawaii. Just go with it. Anyway, I think I've thought of the moral to the story. I think I know what it is. See, the thing that I forgot to tell you is that the great thing that happened with Cosmo is he brought the family closer together. The cat family and the cat lady and the cat man. Oh, yes. How did he do that, you ask? Well, it was when he went to attack Alfie and then turned around and whipped around, really, and went and tried to destroy Sir Palm Trees. When they saw us sticking up for them, Carol noticed this too. They seemed to really understand that we did stick up for them. And I think that is why even Alfie, fairly soon thereafter, was still willing to go up to the door cage thingy a bit and sniff him out because he felt comfortable doing that. Of course, then Cosmo wanted to kill him again, but that's beside the point. The fact is, brought us closer together. They saw us as their protectors. And so the moral to the story is very clearly crap, I lost it. But maybe that's the moral to the story, huh? Maybe the moral to the story should be that sometimes you do a half-hour plus podcast and you fail to get to the moral of the story. You fail. Did you hear that? That's a cat. Failed. And it's okay. I'm still going to put it out there for the world. Oh yeah, because there's a lesson there, a moral. And I've gotten to it. So did I fail? Or did I just fail to fail? That's right. I'll tell you who failed. Shitty Hitler. He's locked in some cage somewhere. I shouldn't laugh at that. The poor bastard. I gotta go yell at cats. They're getting uppity.